So it is a book that Karl Marx had already written in you could say 1848, and this one was you could say published version that is in front of you, that is of the 1970. So if you go a bit down into this, so you could read, it is an interesting, you could say, overview of the whole of the theory of Marxism. Here you could easily analyze and study various prefaces that have subsequently been written with the various translated editions to this particular book. So what I would like to focus on this page number 30 and chapter number 1. In this you could say where you could try to analyze things or the issues that are reflected in this particular theory. So the history of all hitherto existing society is the history of class struggle. See, in the very first line, Karl Marx tells us that the first variable is very much, you could say, reflected over here. All the history is class struggle. So history is based on various clashes between different classes. The classes, as you know, the topic. Look at the topic of this bourgeoisie and proletarians. So proletarians are the working classes, bourgeoisie are the capitalist classes. So the capitalist class against the working class or labor class is they remain against each other. Let's see how they remain against each other and how does Karl Marx define these two particular classes. By bourgeoisie is meant the class of modern capitalists, owners of the means of social production and employers of wage labor. So you see, he has very clearly defined that it is a class that means modern capitalists, owners of the means of social production, whatever the things, the products that are made in the society, their owner, to be more specific, and the employer of the wage labor. So they are the employer, they are the ones who hold central power, they are the ones where the whole power is concentrated upon. By proletariat, the class of modern wage laborers. So on the other hand, proletariats are the one, they are the one who are dependent upon bourgeoisie class or the capitalist class. So wage laborers who having no means of production of their own are reduced to selling their labor power in order to live. So their own labor power, their own physical power, their own physical struggle is what that guarantees their survival. So proletariat are the ones that are dependent upon the modern class, the capitalist class, the class that owns social structure. So when you analyze any piece of literature, any piece of, you could say, poem, any poem or any short story or any novel, so there you could easily apply this particular idea very easily upon that work of literature, such as if you have read Aravind Adiga's The White Tiger. In that White Tiger, you could just easily go through the various two classes of bourgeoisie class, where Ashok Sharma, the owner of you could say various capitalist or various capitals, and his driver Balram Halwai, who was a proletariat, and ultimately you could see the whole novel is a kind of clash between both the owner Balram Halwai, the you could say Balram Halwai, the proletariat, and his owner Ashok Sharma, to be specific. So in that particular novel, when you want to apply this particular concept or this definition or operationalized definition by Karl Marx, here you could do what? You could just write, or you could delineate that after writing the thesis statement over there on the top, and you need to elaborate this particular concept by taking some keywords from here that Karl Marx has already given, and you could attach some criticism to further elaborate this particular concept. And further, after elaborating this concept, you could cite the instances where Balram Halwai shows those concepts, or Ashok Sharma against Ashok Sharma, or you could say Balram Halwai carries various names such as White Tiger is also given to Balram Halwai, or Munna is also at the end of the novel, when he is able to attain the social structure, or he is able to snatch the power out of his master, and then he assumes his master's name over there. So when you want to apply that particular idea of Marxism upon the work of Aravind Adiga, you can easily explain and delineate this particular social aspect or this particular definition. Similarly, you could easily apply this idea upon How to Get Filthy Rich in Asia by Mohsin Hamid, where the unnamed capitalist can be seen as a product of the modern capitalism, and where he himself, you could say, forces his ideology upon the others. The other concept that Karl Marx talks about, that the increase in the means of exchange and in commodities generally give the commerce to navigation to industry an impulse never before known, and thereby to the revolutionary element in the tottering feudal society a rapid development. So he's talking about the colonies, the colonial empire, the British colonial empire, and other European empires, and that were used as a means of, you could say, improvement or source of wealth by taking away things from the colonies. So bourgeoisie, another aspect that he talks about, the bourgeoisie, wherever it has got the upper hand, has put an all end to feudal, patriarchal, idyllic relations. It has pitilessly torn asunder the motley feudal ties that bound man to his natural superior. So what you can do, you can just take the initial one sentence or half the sentence, and you can just see how feudal system has been taken away from, or has gone to deterioration by this particular ideology of, you could say, bourgeoisie, and how capitalist system and is a kind of the new feudal system or new patriarch system, and they are the ones and who hold all the resources. And before these capitalists, all the nobility, all those, you could say, uh, sacred bloods, they mean nothing at all. So has left remaining no other nexus between man, and the man has naked self-interest then. So you could see that how capitalism works. So in other word, in one word, for exploitation veiled by religious political illusion, it has substituted naked, shameless, direct, brutal exploitation. So in a way, modern capitalist system has, you could say, given or has, you could say, reduced all the other powerful institutes, and has made them kneel before it. So bourgeoisie has torn away from the family its sentiment veil, and has reduced the family relation to be a more money relation. So you can see that even the family relation has also been deteriorated, and they only revolve around this money, particular relationship of money. So again, the initial point it is the economic base that regulates all the superstructure. So economic base is the base. The money relationship is the relationship that controls not only the family system but also religious, political, and all the other institution of that. You could and in this last you could say the point that I would like to elaborate from this: the bourgeoisie cannot exist without constantly revolutionizing the instrument of production and thereby the relationship of production as and with them the whole relationship of the society. Conservation of the old modes of production and ordered form was, on the contrary, the first condition of existence for all the earlier industrial classes. So it is the system of production that talks and regulates all that. In the meanwhile, I would like you to just briefly recap all this idea of Marxism by just, you could say, watching this 3 minute video clip, and here the speaker highlights what Marxism is in an interesting way. Let's see that.
Consider, my dear viewers, a world without money, without class divisions, where everyone gives according to their abilities and takes according to their needs. Sounds pretty sweet, no? To German poet and philosopher Karl Marx, such a communist utopia was not only possible, it was inevitable, or what he called the march of history. Though deeply influenced by Hegel, who proposed that history develops through the abstract concept of world spirit, Marx believed that it is not conflict of ideas that propels history, but rather conflict arising out of our relation to material goods that will bring history to its end, specifically our working conditions. Marx calls this historical process dialectical materialism. Initially, humanity was concerned only with the most basic acts of our species, producing for personal survival. But as the population multiplied, economic systems were established to address the needs of all. And with economics, an individual's relationship to the products they create changes, for one is no longer producing for their own immediate needs. They are producing for others. Fast forward to the Industrial Revolution, where mankind created mechanisms to fulfill the needs of many with unprecedented efficiency. These mechanisms, or capital, are owned by individuals, leading to enormous concentrations of wealth. And for the tired worker who must operate these machines, there is no getting ahead. For in order for the capitalist to maximize profit, he must pay the workers little more than is necessary to survive. To Marx, this economic system of capitalism thrives on exploitation and creates widespread unhappiness through what he calls alienation. For starters, I am alienated from the fruits of my labor. If I create a turnip, it'll be sold to another. And in exchange, I'll be paid a wage and become as much of a commodity as the thing I produce. Thus, I am removed from my work. I do not see myself in my labor. Capitalism also alienates us from each other. For the worker to produce efficiently, the capitalist tells them they are in constant competition for their job, thereby turning our fellow man into an adversary rather than an ally. Furthermore, capitalism alienates us from our very nature. Creating is a great source of satisfaction for our species. But because we are forced to make things that we have no personal investment in, our lives become a burden. As time goes on and industrial powers become increasingly concentrated among a select elite, the gap between the working class and the capitalist will only become wider. To Marx, this gap will eventually become so pronounced that the workers, in their profound frustration, will rise up and overthrow the oppression of the few and usher in a new society. A society in which there is no private property, there are no class divisions, where people's labor is held for the common good, and where all work according to their ability. And that, my friends, is communism. Even today, Marxism is one of the most powerful ideologies in the world. And to some, the ushering in of the Marxist utopia still lies in the not-too-distant future.
So, students, you have seen that how Marxism has been ultimately described, and this political system has, you could say, been practically applied in China, Russia, and others. And so, when you analyze a piece of literature, what you can do is just select a few concepts, the concepts that you think are new, and the concepts that you think have not been particularly applied upon any other work of literature before someone. So, in order to do that,